To prepare the cake, I start by making the cake layers. You may have noticed there are 2 layers. But I always simplify it, so I'll make both layers at once. We need 8 egg whites for both layers. I've already separated 7. And now I'm adding the 8th egg white here. I'll beat it gradually while adding 8 tablespoons of sugar. After about 5 minutes of mixing, I'll add 2 egg yolks to the layers. It turns out the layers are much nicer when I add 1 or 2 yolks. You can add them or skip them. In the White Egypt recipe, I didn't add any. I'll keep the remaining 6 yolks for the filling. Now I'll add 100 grams of toasted ground hazelnuts, 2 tablespoons of flour, and 5 grams of baking powder. You can mix it all at a low speed with the mixer. Grease a large baking pan lightly with oil, then place baking paper on it. Pour all of this batter into the pan and spread it evenly. The dimensions of this pan are 42 by 32 centimeters. If you don't have such a large pan, you'll need to bake 2 layers. We're putting the layer in to bake. Oven is preheated to 200 degrees Celsius, and now we'll lower it to 180. As it bakes, we have time to make the filling. We'll place the 6 egg yolks in a separate bowl. I should have put them here immediately, but I forgot. Here I'll add 3 packets of chocolate pudding mix, or 120 grams. If you don't have chocolate pudding, you can mix cornstarch and cocoa. Then I'll add the sugar. I added 8 tablespoons of sugar. And now I'm adding 200 milliliters of milk. I'll combine everything together. I could have used a smaller bowl. There, I've merged everything. Let's continue. Then I pour 600 milliliters of milk into a pot and bring it to a boil. Just before the milk boils, we add the pudding and stir until thickened. This is the thickness you should aim for. Once you reach it, remove the pudding from heat. Now we break 100 grams of dark chocolate. I'll dip the chocolate in a bit to start melting, then I'll stir. Once everything melts, you can place a bag or foil over it. And let the pudding cool down. But I'm in a hurry. I need this cake in about 2 hours. So stay with me. I'll show you a trick to cool it down quickly. Take a large pan and wet it with water. Then pour the pudding in the pan, spreading it out. Or stretch it out, either way. I spread it thinly like this. Cover it with a bag. Leave it for 20 minutes. Then put it in the fridge for 10 more minutes, and in half an hour, the pudding is cool. Our layer has just finished baking. Baking time is between 20 and 25 minutes. Specifically, I baked it for 23. Now we'll leave it to cool down. Cut the cooled layer in half to get 2 layers. See how nice and soft these layers turned out. Then we take 150 grams of softened margarine or butter, whichever you have, and we beat it with 100 grams of powdered sugar or to taste. Once everything is well combined, this lovely chocolate cream is ready. You can also use it for other types of cakes. Separately, I whip 500 milliliters of heavy cream. Instead of heavy cream, you can also use whipped topping. After whipping the soft cream, add 100 grams of toasted ground hazelnuts. And add about 100 grams of sour cream. Then mix everything again. Place the first layer on a plate and spread half of the chocolate cream on it. On top, add the second layer and the rest of the chocolate cream and whipped cream. Take the prepared cake to the fridge for at least an hour to chill. Then it's ready to serve. Enjoy!